Well, tell us about how the Canadian Firefighters Museum is coming along.
It is coming along well. We're busy moving all of our collection from its various storage places into the arena, which is our new home. We've got 8 trucks in the building now. We'll be bringing 4 more, plus a steamer. And we've also got most of the smalls from our collection are here now, but are just moved into dressing rooms that we're using for storage facilities right now. We're slowly bringing out a few of the smalls to start setting up just a small number of displays so that we can have people in and just give them a teaser of what the museum will eventually be.
Tell us about the one that you took delivery of today.
It came from Winnipeg. It was from a little community called St. Boniface. It was in the care of the St. Vital Museum in Winnipeg, and they needed the space, so they offered it to us, and we gladly accepted. So it's a 1923 American LaFrance pumper.
Variety of trucks in here, if you can, and I don't want to catch you off guard, but there's a variety of truck through all eras.
Yes, our oldest motorized fire truck is 1914, which is quite early for a Canadian truck. The very first Canadian truck was 1907, so we're pretty early on. And then we go up to about 1960 as our newest truck. So that's going to be a focus now. We want to try and expand the collection into some of the newer models. And we do actually have an offer of an airport crash truck, which would be quite recent. Our problem is we can't get it through the door to get it in the building. So we're waiting. We've put in a request for an air transportable air crash truck, which has a smaller dimension. We may have to wait a year or more for something like that to come available.
A lot of work done, a lot of work still to go?
Yes, a lot of work still to go. There's so much that we could do. We keep being offered more vehicles and more artifacts. So we're thinking that we need to make more use of the space that we have here, which would mean removing some of the seating and extending the concreted floor out to the exterior wall. That would give us room. If it was for trucks, I could fit another 5 or 6 trucks in here if we took out the seats on one side. So there's big things like that, and then there are little things like making the place accessible. So we want to make the front door an accessible door. We want to turn the referee's bathroom into a universal bathroom so it'll be fully accessible. Eventually, we'd like to put in a platform lift so that people in a wheelchair can get to the second floor, but that's not on the cards for a while because of the cost.
What will be on the second floor?
It's the cafe area, and we've turned the old snack bar into our reference library, so that's up there, but there's a large open space that we could rent out to community groups so that they could run programs, photography classes, yoga classes, things like that. We could also hold small parties up there and so on. So it's our multi-use area, and it's heated, so that's nice. We can make good use of it year-round.
Talk about some of the artifacts. I know you have many, but just talk about some of the artifacts and how it's coming along.
We brought everything that we had in Port Hope, and we have been collecting more over the 6 years that we've been closed. So the list of artifacts has grown exponentially, especially in terms of books and documents and records. We now have factory records for some of the original trucks that we have and so on. So there's a nice tie in there, nice connection. We can trace the history of the thing. But there's interesting things that people don't know. Like we have a black ball box, which is a wooden box. You were given a black and a white marble. This was back in the days when fire departments were all clubs. They were brigades. And when somebody was up for membership, everybody got a black and a white marble to put in the box secretly. And if one black marble showed up, you were not accepted. So you had to get all white marbles. So, that's just a little quirk about fire departments that most people aren't aware of.
You obviously must be thrilled to be where you are, considering 6 years ago you didn't know where it would end up.
Absolutely. This is really a great building in a lot of ways for us because the large open space, no supporting columns makes it easy to move the trucks around and so on. We do have truck access at the far end. It's a little restricted for some of our larger vehicles, but we can make do at this point. Yeah, we're very happy. This was a great opportunity that came along. And I think once we get open and running, it's going to be really good for the community. There should be a lot of spin-off benefits for accommodation, food, fuel, all those sorts of things when people start coming in droves to see this collection.
How far back does it go?
The building?
Well, not the building, no, the artifacts and that. Like, how far back are we talking?
Well, our steamer is probably the oldest piece of apparatus. It's 1868. We may have some small artifacts that go back a little earlier. I'm not sure right off the top of my head.
And I guess event coming up.
The event coming up is our 5th Antique and Vintage Show and Sale. It will not be in this building because we've started to fill this building up. It'll be next door in the curling club, who've generously offered to loan us their space. We have over 35 vendors coming, plus our 2 food vendors are returning, and they're both fabulous. So there should be a good array of vintage and antique items for people to look at and purchase, and it's happening on Mother's Day. So bring mom out.